Welcome into Morning Brew with Jaffe and Razor. We're coming to you again, a real Morning Brew as the team continues their Western trip. We were not going to make Razor stay up until 1:30 in the morning to record. I don't even know if he was up until that time. Then again, I would have fallen asleep too. Given perhaps the result of the game, 7-2, the Bruins lose. Is that correct? I've actually forgot the score. Was it 7 or 6?
It was
7-2. So identical 7-2 wins at home for the LA Kings over the weekend. First Carolina on Saturday, then the Bruins on Sunday. Morning Brew with Jaffe and Razor, proudly presented by Fazenda Coffee Roasters. Fazenda Coffee Roasters proudly serves cafes, bakeries, and restaurants to provide the top quality coffee through a wholesale program, but they can also provide you with a top quality product for your home. You can enjoy their expertly roasted coffee at your house. Shop directly at fazendacoffee.com. And folks, if you want specific Morning Brew stuff, the blend, the hat, whatever, go to fazendacoffee.com/morning brew. All right, Razor. Bruins now are winless on this trip. They are winless in 6 games. They have one OTL, 1 point in that time. That's a loss still. They are completely struggling. And I think that's an understatement, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's where they're at right now. It's something we kind of, I guess, feared coming up. Okay, let's get right to it. How does this stop? How does this end? Because they're having moments of goodness and then a lot of moments of no-ness, if that's even a term.
Yeah, this is my worst fear because this won't end until the end of the season. That's
where we're at now, right?
Yeah, it is. It's only going to get worse probably. You're going to start getting to the point where guys start getting a little nicked up. Guys get a little injured. They don't, they
get ticked off too, right?
You get really annoyed. You get really tired. You're not going to have guys fight through injuries, regular guys anyways. So you get a little pull, you get a little back, you get a little this. It's like, all right, just sit out. And it can happen fast in this league, and it just happened really fast. And I'm just not. It's just not a good thing to lose all the time. It's just not a good thing to get smoked 7-2, to lose to San Jose. And listen, they're gonna sneak a couple wins out. It'll just happen because it's the game of hockey. You'll trip up. Buffalo Sabres beat the Winnipeg Jets at home yesterday afternoon. You'll get a couple of those, but this is bad. It's going to be a really bad end of the year meeting for everybody. It's going to be a really bad start of the summer for the organization, and you're going to have more changes because of the way this is ending, and that's not good for anybody.
They've been outscored 4 goals for, 15 goals against in the 3-game roadie so far. Giving up 5, 3, and 7.
It's not even close though, right? Like they did it in the Vancouver when they went out west. They got beat. They got smoked by Winnipeg. Then they got beat by Seattle.
Right.
I was like, you still like those are just 2 bad road games, and they came back and won the next 3, or 2-0-1 in the next 3.
Right.
That's not this. This is a whole. This is bad, and they're a bad team. It's bad.
They are. And if you go back to the previous 3 games, they were outscored. They had 7 goals for in games if you combine the Ottawa, Tampa, and Buffalo game, and they gave up 15. So it's that oh my time, like oh my, we didn't think we'd be here, but we are. And the reality, and look, we've known for a little while. Let's face facts that I've talked about, the playoffs not being a reality, et cetera. And Razor, you can see them saying we're capable of a couple of moments, a couple of minutes, but if they don't really get rewarded, even if they do get rewarded, I think they just know that they're not going to be able to sustain it. Forget 60 minutes for 40 minutes now. Just their lack of depth and everything.
Everybody, listen, they've played hockey a really long time. They know when you don't have McAvoy, Lindholm in your lineup, and then you trade away Frederick, Carlo, Marchand, and Coyle.
Right.
All right. That's it. you know, and yeah, they put a good effort in for 2 games, but that was just fortunate. That there was no way that was sustainable when you lose, though you got literally 6 like legit NHL
Regulars.
hockey players
Yep.
out.
More than regulars.
And
Right.
more than regulars, correct. More, you know, like you have a couple you got a couple regulars back, not more than regulars. And now, you know, this is what it is, and teams are licking their chops to play them.
All right, so we haven't done a show since for the San Jose game either, and we're not breaking down either of these games. We're going to get into a couple of things, and then we're going to hit the whole Swayman incident, the whole thing. But let's get to these other things first, and then we'll get to that. All right, let's start with 2 games now. Fabian Lysell up. He gets called up. There's no reason not to play him the rest of the regular season. I don't think. I mean, I know he'll be back in Providence for playoffs, and I know it's important for that team to do well. I get that. But I don't know why you wouldn't play him as much as possible the rest of the way, the last 10, 11 games, Razor, whatever it is now. I mean, to absolutely positively know what you do or don't have, and to give him the longest runway to get comfortable, because I feel like I'm watching a player who is still thinking his way around the ice, and understandably so. That isn't a criticism. He's had moments of good. He has. He's had moments of where are you? But he needs a longer runway to really get situated. And thankfully, they changed the lines going into the LA game. That should help as well.
Yeah, and absolutely, you have to. This is the chance. This is his go. You 162 minor hockey league games at this point, and now he's going to get. You have to give him the month. And you have to put him with Middlestat, or you have to put him with Zaka, and you have to figure it out. You know, and if he goes, 1 goal and 1 assist in 12 games, you're like, okay, we know what we have. And if he does more than that and continues to build his game, and by the end, you're saying, okay, we think we have something. Like, this is his chance to make the team next year. It's impossible it's so hard to make a team out of camp. I know there's a great narrative every year that we go on, and who's going to make it, who isn't. But the reality is, you don't make a team in training camp. You make it right now, this time of year. So I agree 1,000,000%. You have to sink or swim right now for him. And then he's got the Calder Cup playoffs too. You can, he could, I looked it up yesterday. I did the radio show, and Shane Wright, point per game in the playoffs last season. He's built his game out in Seattle, was a bust, the first rounder. Oh no, he can't play. Well, he figured it out. And this is where Fabian is right now. He gets his 12 games right now, play up in the lineup, show you can play, and then go to the minors and dominate in the playoffs. And that's how you make the team next year. Otherwise, you're going to have another year of free agents. You have another year of draft picks coming in, and you fall way down in the totem pole.
Yeah, it feels make or break. It just does. I know it kind of sounds extreme, but I feel like it's make or break for him and the organization.
I agree.
14:45 against LA. What I liked is he did have the puck on his stick a lot. He ended up having 6 attempts, 2 made the net. The other 4 were either blocked or he missed the net. He had credited with 3 hits. Hits are subjective. Often means that your team doesn't have the puck, but at least the guy got involved. 1 giveaway, -1 in the game. Again, not a good game really for anybody. But when it was good for the Bruins, again, I noticed him. I saw the number 23, and I like that. Like I'm saying about Hustadinov, different style, etc. But I want to see the number. I want to see that player. Now, I felt like there were times where he kind of shot from distance, just thinking that was better than doing something with it. But that's part of getting comfortable at that level. I'm fine with that. I am. I just don't want him not touching the puck. I want him involved along the wall. I want to see him battling. And I saw more of it. Again, I'd say moments of good, and then other moments of, all right, you need to be involved here or there more. But at least I'm hearing his name, seeing his number so far.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Exactly. And you want to see him have a couple breakout games within all of that. But right now, it's only his 3rd game. So, just continue to touch pucks, continue to be around it, get more comfortable. And that's why you need to give him a longer runway. You have to give him those 3 weeks in a row, and hopefully that pays off.
And if you didn't catch the game, he played this one with Geekie and Zaka. He started on the right wing. Pasternak moved to go with Middlestedt, and was it Hustadinov, if I remember correctly?
Mm-hmm.
I think, yeah, in that game. So, all right. And the team needed to do that. And that's, I'm guessing we'll see some iteration of that moving forward. What can this team do to get over 20 shots on goal a game? I mean, it's 4 in a row now. I think, again, if my memory serves correct, they had 13 last night, 1 in the third period.
Yeah.
And I'm watching them. It's a combination to me of breakouts leading the opportunity. But I feel like Razor, I don't know. I feel like I'm watching a team that doesn't feel confident with the puck enough when they get it. And again, I go back to not having enough that you talked about, but there's got to be a way they can figure out more than 20 shots on goal. There has to be.
Yeah, and they will. Again, it's just a kind of a matter of the way the game plays out. But the reality is, just like whenever they win again, it'll be more about what the other team does than what they do.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they can't really like change something or dictate unless they start, and you just mentioned Lysell shooting from distance. I think they had a mandate to shoot from distance yesterday. Like Patrick Brown gets over the blue line and wrists one on net like 2 minutes into the game. That there's, you'll have a game of that where a team actually allows you to have the blue line. LA didn't. But there will be a team that does, and you're going to get pucks on net that way, or you'll have a power play where you hem them in and get 5 shots, and that'll get you to 20. But there, I don't see a scenario where they can, that with this group, that they can actually, hold momentum and pin a team in for 5 shifts straight. There's just not enough there.
4 of the Bruins shots of the 13 were actually on the power play, so they had 9.
Yeah, that's
9 even strength shots in a game.
Like you see it 5-on-5. You just see any of these good teams, they just lean on them.
Yeah, they do. And LA going from a 1-3-1, it's more of a 1-2-2, I think. Bruins get up a goal early in the game, and you get your attention. Really, it's 19 seconds in, and you're like, okay, maybe, and then you realize it's 59. 40
I said it the other night. Like they'll go beat LA tomorrow night, right? Like I said that at the desk, and then because that'll be the win. Again, Buffalo beating Winnipeg. Like it's a random one. I've been on these bad teams where you end up winning random games. And it actually feels worse.
After the game on a bad team at the NHL level, after a loss like this, Razor, this isn't the first one of these. This is now multiple losses of these. How do you handle it? Are you past the point?
Yeah.
And I think we've talked about this before on Morning Brew about how you get on the bus on a certain loss and it is morbid and nobody is stealthily cracking a beverage in the back. Nobody's doing anything. Nobody's, you're texting, you're not calling, nothing.
Yeah.
And then plane's quiet until you take off, and then things lighten up a little bit and everything. Where are we at now, though? That's just one. Like, where are you at now with this? Is it morbid, do you think? Or is it, I've just got to deal with it, and this is another loss by a big number?
Yeah, this is checkout central. You still respect the ethic, or no, not the
edict.
ethics.
The
edict of, quietly cracking your beer, not talking on the phone, not laughing, not joking. Like you're still going to follow all of that and be respectful of that. But what you're on your phone looking at, what vacation you're going on, rather than like not being on your phone at all after a horrible loss in the playoffs. Right. Like that's different, right? This time you're kind of like, you're fine with it. You're not talking about it, but you're telling your wife, all right, how'd the kids do tonight? What are we doing for school tomorrow? What are we doing April 20th? Like you're moving on from it much, much better, much easier. Cause you're counting them. You're not,
especially the veterans, the vets that have.
Yeah. Cause they know, like, again, there's guys that are out there that are fighting for their lives, but there's other guys that are like, all right, I'm looking to my, you're starting to plan your workout schedule for the summer,
Yeah. Where are we going to go? We're going back home, or what are we going to do? All that stuff.
Exactly.
But there are moments during the season, even regular season, where that bus is, it's not even live. It's quieter than a library where people pay attention, to the rules.
Yeah. Like the bus after the Rangers game before the Four Nations, where they had the lead in the third, where they blew it.
Yeah.
That's a bad bus. Like that's a bus where you're like, that's a miserable bad bus that you don't want to be on.
Yeah.
But it's past that now.
Some teams I've been with, the broadcasters were on those buses too. Most teams, not all, but most teams have a small bus or two buses. They got the
back in the day they didn't though. Back in the day, everyone piled in on one.
Oh my God, the amount of times that we got on the bus with the Atlanta Thrashers. And those losses after a while.
And you're side-eyed as a player, you're side-eyed in the broadcasters just because they're just easy targets, right? Like, you're just like, why are you on the bus? You're not part of this. You're against us, and it used to be bad.
Because God forbid a broadcaster's maybe a little honest.
Yeah,
and then
exactly.
Somebody's wife or girlfriend, or wife and girlfriend, depending on player, right? Ends up. Oh my God.
Yep.
Oh my, and then they like you're the enemy. Like you like, and you sit there and as a broadcaster, you just look forward after a while. And then near the end of the season, you just look up and you're like, you've done nothing wrong here. So you just finally look up and you just kind of nod.
Yeah.
Hi. How's that?
Well, and the players know it by the end of the year too, right? Like the guys kind of get it. Like, yeah, we do actually. We do kind of deserve that now.
Yeah. I was confronted once by a player on the bus.
After a game?
Actually, on the plane.
After a game?
After a game.
Yeah, so emotions are high, right?
Right, they're higher. It was and it was when I was with the Islanders. This player had heard something. We had talked about something, and I had said something that was nothing personal. It was nothing private, but then I think it was his wife. I'm not going to get into the name. I actually like this guy an awful lot. I'll tell another story another time of a player, Dwayne Rollison, who we got into it a little bit about something, but it was great. It worked out fine.
The goalie.
It worked out totally fine after we talked. This other player, he said something, and I said, "What are you talking about?" Like on the plane, I'm like, "What are you talking about?" And I did not say, and then we ended up talking about it too, because I will, when I say, it's not that I won't take it. I will sit there and respectfully, I will follow protocol. I'll let them whatever, but I'll be like, "You're wrong. You're wrong." And then, and I actually said, when we talked about it later, I'm like, "Who did you hear this from? What? Tell me exactly what I said."
Yeah, that's right.
Because that's not what I said.
There's always a telephone game in that.
Exactly.
No, sometimes guys deserve it, but
that's true.
It's usually the print guys. Those guys. It's usually the guys that aren't. It's always the guys that aren't on the plane that really deserve it.
Well, it's a lot of the guys that don't
travel.
At least they show up. At least the print guys. Well, especially the old days, quote unquote old days, they showed up. They don't travel as much anymore.
Yeah.
But at least they would show up to the rink and stuff. There are some guys that, sports radio or whatever, that are never there.
Yeah, those guys.
They say everything. Right. It's a wonderfully easy job.
Yeah, to never see the guys.
To never have to see a guy and to show up.
Yeah.
And that's why, in tangent time, that's why I still go to practice as much as we are able, and morning skates almost all the time, again, if we are able. And you do the same thing, Razor. It's if there's ever besides getting information, if there's ever anybody that's ticked off at you, well, I'm here.
Yeah, 100%. And guys, listen, guys will always respect the guy who's there every day. They have a hard time taking criticism from some guy who has never watched the game or heard about it or watched a highlight and literally has no idea, that goes on a tangent on how bad you are, or thinks that people should criticize them more. Like those guys no one has time for.
Yeah. I always like to say it's nothing personal either. It's nothing personal.
Yeah.
This is your
and
job.
You can criticize without
job.
being personal. Like
exactly.
You don't go after somebody and a player. Because if it is personal, guys, that's a big one for guys.
That's
right?
huge.
You can tell the guy doesn't have a good shot, but don't go anywhere else.
Right. A few other things to go over before we get to the whole Swayman and the goalie fights and everything where we're at in the league. I mean, you've got Anaheim coming up on Wednesday. A team that in theory, you can. I'm not saying should beat anymore. You can beat.
Yep.
But I guess, other teams now, and you've said this before, are looking at the Bruins and saying, we can't lose this game now. We can't.
Mm-hmm.
Bruins fans are still showing up in abundance. They did in San Jose. They did in LA. They're going to do it in Anaheim. And so I think in many ways, Razor, I think that actually works against the Bruins because it brings energy and atmosphere to a building. And so the home team's like, screw this. We're not going to get embarrassed. We're not going to lose this game. We can't afford to do that.
No, that's right. That's exactly what happens when a team does travel like the Bruins do. Anaheim can tell. Nah, Anaheim's out. I thought they were kind of in the mix, but they've lost a bunch of games lately. Yeah, no. So this is a San Jose Boston Bruin game that we saw on Saturday night. It's probably not
that was not
too
good,
exciting or entertaining, and
that was not good.
That
was not good.
Please tune into Nesson though.
yeah, please for Razor.
Watch the pregame show.
Razor and my sake, please join us because we still love having fun talking hockey. That San Jose game was not pretty. Celebrini a heck of a player. It's funny. I've actually forgot most about that game.
Yeah, I know. There's nothing to it. The offside thing, that was it.
All right. You know who I can't forget about is our sponsors. Let's tell you quickly who's making this show possible. And Graciano Construction has been with us all year long. They've helped build up Morning Brew with Jaffe and Razor. Can't thank them enough. They're a great company to work with, folks. If you're looking to do something at your house, your apartment, your condo, whatever. And by the way, they'll do full gut jobs and they'll just do a bathroom for it. They'll do it all. And they do it with pride, and they make you feel good when you're done. You feel like you got everything you could want. Doug and his crew, they make doing home projects less stressful and almost even enjoyable. They'll walk you through it. They've got updates for you all the time. Their managers are phenomenal. Go to GracianoConstruction.com or call them at 508-330-7589 to get a consultation, discuss what you're looking to do. GracianoConstruction.com, the place to go. Check out their projects. They're also really, really good on Instagram, Razor. Check out Graciano Construction there. They'll show you the before and afters. Wonderful people to work with. Got introduced to them years ago. Have loved doing all of our projects with them. We trust them implicitly. You should too. Graciano Construction to refresh and revitalize your space. Lately, I've been eating actually a lot of Sunset Lake CBD products. As my stress level has gone up for multiple reasons, the Bruins perhaps being one of them, and I love them. I've gone straight tincture, meaning the vials, the droplets, the last couple of nights, because I know I can tell my body. I'm a type A. I think you know that, Razor. And my mind and my body have been saying, you're not going to sleep. I still wake up a little bit, but I go back to sleep after taking the Sunset Lake CBD, which is great. Their product, their product with melatonin in it. Folks, you can go try all their different products, or at least go call them, and they'll actually give you a real human being to talk with. That's what makes Sunset Lake CBD so good. They've got so many different products. Help you relax after a tough day at work. Help you sleep. Help you if you've got some aches and pains, topical ointments for your body, for your skin. Go check out all the products at sunsetlakecbd.com. Sunset Lake, not with an S, sunsetlakecbd.com. Use the code BREW20, BRU20, and get 20% off. The other thing Razor they'll do is if your order is over $75, they can ship it to you for free as well. So you order a couple of products that will help you out, whatever the issue is. And for me, I don't know about you, how much you've been able to tinker with them, but it's been helpful having so many different products because you finally find 2 or 3 that really work. At least I have.
Yeah, no, that's the beauty of it. And right now, again, I can't wait for this trip to end. I can't wait, to just get back on a sleep routine. I get so messed up, and I have not slept very well this past week, so it has been helpful to at least grab a few hours because the cadence is all off. That's for sure.
They've also got great in-day products to take too. Check them out. Like, they do, whether it's a stress relief or it's a focus type thing, a vibe gummy. I mean, check them out, sunsetlakecbd.com. Thank you to them. Sparks. Do we have a spark of the game? Is it Elias Lindholm's goal? Is it the fight? Do we want to just use actually not a fight? Is it the goalie, thing
Discussion.
for the spark of the game? What do you want to do? Where do you
let's
want to go
do that just to segue into it, I suppose. The Lindholm thing was kind of fun to have a goal that early.
Yeah.
And while I was still awake. So that was fun, but it's got to be the goalie stuff just to segue into our next thing. But get our Sparks hockey machine, that's for sure. That's the no-brainer part of the show. That's the easiest part of the show,
isn't it? You could even handle your Sparks machine with taking a Sunset Lake gummy. No problem. That's how foolproof it is. The Sparks machine. Use the code BREW50 for $50 off. SparksHockey.com. All right. So the game's 3-2. Let's get into it. The game is at 3-2. Bruins tie it up on a Morgan Geekie. By the way, we didn't talk Geekie. Good for him. Kid's going to get 30.
Yep.
That's a purpose. You have to find little purposes to play for. This will be a purpose for veterans, especially on the team, to get Morgan Geekie to 30 goals. You agree?
100%. Yep. That's like kind of the only goal, offensively, other than maybe getting David to 95. Maybe,
right. So 25 goals now for Morgan Geekie. He ties it up at the 207 mark. And then at the 848 mark against LA, Drew Doughty comes in and hammers a shot from like literally inside the right faceoff circle. I don't know any goalie that's stopping that one. And I think the puck was on edge.
Yeah, it fluttered too. It went up and over.
It was, oh man, what a hammer. Okay. Then though, so it's 3-2. I think the Bruins are still in it, whatever. And then there's a play. Husnudinov goes in, makes contact with Darcy Kuemper, who, by the way, is having a fantastic year for the LA Kings. I did not expect that. I did not.
What a great trade for both teams.
It's worked. Pierre-Luc Dubois goes to to Washington from LA, Kuemper the other way. It has worked. Everybody's happy. There's a little contact. Upon further review, Husnudinov, we all thought he got pushed originally. I don't know if he got pushed, but
he deserved a headlock. He went in there.
Yeah,
easily.
he got enough. He did. He turned his back to make it look stealthy. Yeah. But there was contact.
100%.
Was it egregious? No. Have I seen worse? Oh my God, yes. But okay, yes. Upon further review, he went in there, and Kuemper gave him a little something,
which wasn't egregious either, by the way.
Which was not egregious.
That was not egregious either. It was a simple play.
It was right. So then, all of a sudden, camera pans hard right, so to speak, and Jeremy Swayman is out of his, not just crease, but past the blue line, motioning, using his stick in his hand, motioning for Darcy Kuemper to come down there. Within a second or two, Kuemper is more than happy to oblige and takes off to go out. Gets across the red line. Officials get in the way. There's a referee is with Swayman. A linesman darts back to get Darcy Kuemper. They do not allow this to happen. Swayman had actually taken off his catching mitt, if I remember correctly. Did he shake that off, or was the blocker? Regardless, it was one of them.
Yeah.
Both. All right. He wants to get going. Nothing happens. Your first thoughts when you see that are what, Razor? Let's start just with that and not where we're at with goalie fights in the league. What's your first thought when you see Swayman going out there demonstrably challenging Darcy Kuemper?
Well, I'm not a goalie fight guy. Especially, again, I played in an era where it happened often. We had bench clearing brawls. You had 5 guys fighting 5 guys, or 6-on-5, and a goalie would have to get in, and then a goalie would get in, and etc. Or your guys getting pounded in the corner while a 5-on-5 is going in, so you get in. This one, that's my preface to this answer is, what are we doing? What are we doing? We've lost 7 in a row. No one's scoring. No one, like, what are we doing? That's my thought. Why are you going out there, Jeremy? That's my first thought.
Okay.
Because I didn't think what Kuemper did. I know what Kuemper did wasn't egregious. I know it wasn't over the line. I know we just, a guy ran into him for no reason, and he
gave some contact.
They were both getting penalties. The refs had both of them, 2-2, move on, and it's a 3-2 game.
Mhm.
What
So
do we do?
what do you think? Unfair question, but I'll ask. What do you think? I mean, I don't even need to ask this because we heard post game
No,
from
he said it post game that
he's
listen, Jeremy's tried to get into a bunch of fights. We've
right.
seen that.
Why do you think, Razor, he wants a fight? It's just the bravado, it's the I'm here for my teammates, it's the spotlight. Why do you think he wants a fight so much? Because it is more than
Well,
happy a couple of times to try and do this.
yeah, I don't know for sure. My guess, it can't be to stand up for your teammates because I've been in around hockey a really, really, really long time at this point now.
Mhm,
I played the position, and I know for an absolute fact that not one of those forwards that I've ever played with looked to me to stand up for my teammates.
mhm.
That no one, you can't convince me that any goalie has ever thought that ever in the history of hockey. Now, and there's some tough goalies. You know, like you go
Oh,
back
yeah.
to Ron Hexter or Billy Smith, and
How about
maybe Ron.
Cloutier? How about Dan Cloutier?
Well, no, like we go to tough guys like Ray Emery and
Right.
Danny Cloutier. Those two guys would have beat Hexty up, like
Yeah.
no problem. Hexy is probably the only guy that actually sometimes took it upon himself to be a policeman.
Mhm.
Billy Smith didn't. Ray didn't.
Billy
Danny
just
didn't.
controlled his crease. And there
Correct.
was more than crease. It was about 10 feet around it.
Yeah.
That's what he was so viciously protecting.
Yeah, that's right. So, um, but to that point, like Hexy did it, but he would go after Chelios. You know, Ray
Right.
Emery would do it. He'd go after Andrew Peters. You don't go after the other goalie to set the tone.
Right.
It's just not what it is. So you hear that answer. That's what he said it is. But I have to imagine it's more just to put it on tape and say he did it. You know. And
I
that's
don't
fine,
under
like, some guys love it and have fun with it, but the league's changed too much.
Okay, so let's get to that
Yeah,
because we've seen a handful of goalie fights in the minor leagues this year.
yeah.
In particular, I believe it's the coast. We've seen
The
it in the
coast
EC.
allows it,
It allows it.
technically. Yeah.
I do not know for fact if there has been an email or directive gone out saying meaning in print, so to speak, do not allow the goalies to fight.
Yeah.
But the reaction from the officials says to me that something has been said, significantly said too. We are not going to allow this.
Yeah.
Why do you think they don't want this to happen when, let's face facts, Razor, the
Yeah.
attention that it would bring
Yeah.
to the average sports fan, meaning the eyeballs of the average, Sports Center would play it. You
Yeah.
know it and I know it. They would play it repeatedly for 24 hours. So why do you think it is not being allowed?
Well, because I don't think the league wants to be known as that anymore, and I think rightly so at this point. So, rightly so, like, they've got rid of fighting, essentially,
Mhm.
and, the league is in a better place for it, you know, and I'm okay with a couple, there again, I like the passionate fights, but the idea of ceremonial fights, which kind of is what a goalie fight is.
Sure is because
And like, you're not battling in the corner and you drop the gloves and you fight right like, this is a whole ceremony thing, and the league just doesn't want it. And again, I'm actually not against it at this point. I think, again, it's kind of silly for two guys from 200 feet away to go to center ice and fight, and there's no question the refs aren't allowing it to happen. They broke up Fleury and Binnington a couple years ago when Fleury went, like, they are not allowing it to happen.
right.
And there's 3 or 4 good examples at this point. I never say never, but I think there will never be another goalie fight in the NHL, because
I'll take the bet with you on that because somebody's going to end up running down to the other end one time and going all Cloutier. Like, you know what I
yeah,
mean?
I think the refs will grab that guy before he gets there now. Like, the days of having a 5-on-5 fight with the goalies do it. Like, I think that, like, I think that it might be gone.
Do
Again, I
you
never say
remember the
never.
last legit goalie fight?
That's what I'm saying. When was it?
I do it. I remember I did this for you. I looked it up.
What was it?
2020. Cam Talbot, Mike Smith, Calgary, Edmonton, Battle of Alberta. They got it going. I
That's right.
couldn't remember it either. I could not
Yeah, because
remember
that was out west. It would have been a late game. Yeah. So again, that's 5 years now,
that was the last goalie fight in the
and
NHL.
yeah, So again, the other thing
And he was
is
a good fighter, by the way. Smitty was a good fighter too.
I grew up with Smitty. Smitty he'd always have to fight me after practices when he was a kid. Like I played juniors with him all summer with him, and yeah, he's big, strong, long.
Yeah, very long.
He would fight Ray Emery. Like he would be happy to do that. I think they fought in juniors. He's a bit of an idiot. Smitty knows it too.
He handled the puck well.
Smitty. Oh yeah, Smitty would fight. Smitty would beat. I'm trying to like Smitty would beat up anybody in the league right now for sure, no question.
He'd be happy to get involved.
Yes.
So then we have comments after the game from Nikita Zadorov, and asked about his thoughts on Swayman. How was it? I couldn't hear it totally. Did you hear the question?
I didn't do the vocal. I just read the transcript of it that I found.
Which is really all you need. It was basically Swayman. Where did it go? Somebody actually texted it to me, I think. Hold on. Again, a good host would be prepared. Somebody said that was asked if he appreciated Jeremy sticking up for his teammates. Does that make, because that's what Jeremy talked about, that he was there sticking up for anybody wearing black and gold.
Yeah, and he said, and Nikita said, "Is that what it is?" I don't know. No comment.
Okay. How do you interpret those comments? It seemed like Nikita. He's actually said no comment before. He kind of gets irritated.
Yeah,
with some of the questions. How did you take that?
So I took it as that's a silly question because goalies don't stick up for their teammates, and I have nothing else good to say about that.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I took it. I think again, for a guy who does stick up for his teammates and a guy who actually gets in real fights with people, you can be defensive of people taking that for granted or taking that lightly, and taking questions from someone who hasn't been in a fight before. I think there's something in there, and of course, his culture is different and etc. So that's the way I took it. That kind of annoyed very annoyed they lost 7-2. Very annoyed that their goaltender is now the story of standing up for teammates when I'm the one who actually does that.
Yeah. Again, this may be an unfair question. Is there tension? Do you think? Do you know? Or is it just move on from this? Because I think he's pissed off totally about being embarrassed again. You lose 3-1 to San Jose on an offside call. We haven't even gotten into that. I don't even know if I want to get into that. But truthfully, actually, by the way, all the people I spoke with at the league, and I'm talking,
they did the right thing.
They did the right, meaning it would have not been called, but still, I don't know if you caught any of our pregame. I thought we actually covered it real well last night, partner. Like, the rule is so messed up. It's so muddied. It's so muddied. Like, come on. I still think that's offside. I do. But we've gotten to the millimeter minutia of it and I'm going into it and I don't really want to, but anyways, it's off the charts crazy, this offside crap. It is. But okay, so they lose to San Jose, even though it's only 3-1. That's embarrassing. They get throttled the next night after a good start. They lose. And by the way, after that fight, I'm sorry, it wasn't a fight. After the attempt to start a fight, Swayman was not sharp.
No, it's a distraction.
Right. He never did. He ever recover, so to speak, from that? So does that annoy players on the team?
Oh
too?
Yeah, for sure. And the other thing that can happen. And again, this is all this is just off of experience. This isn't one direct scenario, but guys also don't do you think LA pulled back a little bit?
Oh, no.
Do you think LA would have pulled back had that not happened?
I don't think they would have overtly said, "Hey guys, pull back," but internally they would have. They galvanized over that, saying this kid came out to challenge our goalie. We've got our goalies back now.
Let's score 10 on him.
Yeah.
That's what they're saying on the bench. Like, let's score 10 on this guy tonight. And
so is it fair to say,
guys, again, the teammates don't really love that either. And again, there's no big deal today. It's long gone, but right after a game, you're going to get, that's a kind of a night where you're going to get a random comment because guys are frustrated to be on no end.
All right, let me ask you one more question, then we'll wrap up this show. Because there's a lot of talk, partner, about Lysell, using him, and we already talked about using this to see what he is, and to get himself ready for next season. Can you do the same thing if you're a veteran player? And he's a young veteran, but he's obviously an instrumental piece or significant piece to this Bruins puzzle to get out of this event, hopefully sooner than later. But for Jeremy Swayman to take a moment and to reset himself and start next year right now, meaning we might lose every game here on out, but I'm going to do things this way, that way. Or is he already doing that? Meaning, can he use this let's say he gets 7 more starts and to start next season right now? Or is this too far down? We're too far down this road of this team is meh and just get through this and then use the off season to reset.
Yeah, I think there's more reflection in the off season when you get away from it. But all of these experiences that are going on right now are definitely going to be talked about and be brought up and used as examples for certain changes or certain things to stay. But yeah, this is. I don't know. I don't think you change. I don't think he rattles off 7 in a row and it makes a difference on what this season is or what.
Well, I'm not even saying they win 7 in a row. I'm just saying his.
No, but I'm saying like he can't just flip something right now. This is where he's at right now is going to take more than the 2 days off in Anaheim to like, I'm going to just change what I do. I think it's going to be. He's going to try. Again, they're all trying to dig in and finish strong But I think there's more to Jeremy's outlook that needs to just kind of be worked over in the
reset is bigger than just saying I'm going to go about things this way instead of that way.
Correct. Yeah. Okay. And again, that's just a lot to do to turn over.
Okay. All right. Anything else you want to hit on quickly?
No.
Again, one day we can talk about it. The league is completely screwed up the offside thing.
Yeah. That's a problem.
We'll talk about it another time.
But what we should do though is because again, the coaching staff took a huge, again, everyone's frustrated as fans, but like a lot of fans were bullshit that they didn't challenge it. We should stick up for them because the league, everybody within the league, everyone around the league, everyone you talked to said that was the right play not to challenge.
Right.
So I feel like that is important. These guys are kind of, they're having a tough go of it.
They are having a tough go, and they are. And Joe, Sacco, Chris Kelly, Matt Myers, the video coach, and they know they get the
they know more
emails from the league. They get the video clips.
This stuff.
I still I got to be honest with you. Even if they had challenged it and they lost, I wouldn't have been unhappy. I would have been like, what? It's because I still feel the same way. The league has the minutia of these video replays on blue line plays has absolutely had consequences that nobody thought of, and now we are screwed up with it. We'll talk about it another time, but it's gone off the chart, off the tracks. It's bad. I'm sorry, it's bad. It's bad. Anyway, okay. That'll wrap up this morning brew with Jaffe and Razor. Thank you to our sponsors, Fazenda, Graciano, Sparks, and Sunset Lake CBD. RC, thank you for getting this done. Razor, you and I will be back in a couple of days. I believe we're doing one the morning after the Anaheim game. Or no, are we doing it after the Anaheim game? Because we're doing it together.
We do it after.
Okay, we might reconsider that. We'll see what kind of mood we're in. We'll either do it after Anaheim late night, or we'll do it earlier in the morning on the next day. Bruins lose. We had a lot of stuff to talk about. Thanks for listening, folks. Try and enjoy your coffee.